our group, our sessions are meant for information, general information. And for the most part, the way Food for Thought is run is I am the interviewer of oncology nutritionists. So it's all research based. Again, today is a little on the lighter side, and I am doing the session with my colleague Kristen Dorn, who is the creative director for Believe Big, and then also Danielle Ellington. She's watching out for us as well. What that means for you all is you can feel free to ask your questions at any time. Like I said in the chat, you're even welcome to come along off mute and ask your questions at some targeted times. But I want you to know how supported you are. I get to do the fun stuff behind the camera, and these two ladies are keeping us straight. So ask away. Even if we don't answer it right away, we will answer it by the end of the session. I have 11:59. How about you, ladies? Are we about ready to go? Welcome, Cheryl. I see that somebody else has dialed in. So we've got David and Susan and Joe and Cheryl. Cheryl, if you feel comfortable, go ahead and put in the chat where you are calling in from. Again, my name is Stacy Fritz. I am one of the patient advocates for Believe Big, and I am also the moderator of the show. The big passion of mine, and I'd like to give you a little bit of a backstory, but before I do, I have a little bit of house cleaning to do. So housekeeping, not cleaning. I'm not going to clean anything today, I promise. Kristen, as I mentioned, is going to be watching that chat line for us. So again, feel free to put in the chat your questions or come off mute. What we cannot do today, though, is we can't address specific questions related to someone's specific diagnosis. Now, that's not to say that we can't get you those answers. And at the end of our session today, I will remind you and give you my direct email that you can reach out and I can get you whatever you need. If you just jumped on, please know that there are the replays and the resources section. And today I get to fly sort of solo in the content, supported by my ladies, but we're going to be talking about a really special day. Now, I know a lot of people make fun of Valentine's Day. I've heard it. I have 3 sons, and it's apparently the hallmark holiday. But for me, and I hope for you, it's just another day to celebrate love, all kinds of love. So away from my time at Believe Big, I work in corporate wellness. And the paradigm that I speak in content about is eat, move, breathe, heal. And what those buckets stand for are nutrition, movement and exercise, managing your stress, and then anything that needs to be healed, which might include like corrective exercise. We thought it would be fun today to do a little bit of a spin-off on that and do eat, move, breathe, heal. Excuse me, love. So what you can anticipate today is I'm going to show you a couple of Valentine's Day hacks in that eat category, some things that you might be able to drink, some things you might be able to eat, some other fun things. And then we'll move on to a short segment on movement, where we can work on heart opening exercises. And I'll explain why when we get to that section. And then the last 2 buckets, the breathe, I'm going to teach you a breath technique. And then I'm also going to share a heart opening meditation with you. Like I said, it's going to be super fun. I don't know if you all love this kind of stuff, but I really enjoy teaching it. And then the big finale is a little bit of a surprise. It's that love category. So that said, I want to make sure that we don't have any questions to get us started. I'm going to assume, Kristen, if you could let me know if I can push forward or if we have any questions. Are we good?
Good to go.
All right. So I want to share a picture with you. Let me pull it down just a little bit, move this out of the way. And this picture is going to give you a big indication on the why I do eat, move, breathe, love for today. So this is a picture of my sweet brother, Brad. This is at his 47th birthday party. And what you can't see in this picture is the rest of us in the family with a slice of cake, of his favorite birthday cake. And like I said, we were celebrating his birthday, and just for full transparency, he was already about a year into his cancering journey. And he was engaged in a really strict keto diet, right? And he was working on a lot of things towards healing. So what I want you to focus your attention on is I don't know if you can see my cursor, but I want you to see what my brother is enjoying for his 47th birthday. If you can't tell what that is, I'm going to tell you. That is 3 pieces of celery with almond butter on top of it. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't look like a really exciting birthday celebration. And it occurred to me, especially since the field that I'm in, that what a shame. We separate out opportunities to celebrate and we make people feel like they are different and on a different course when they're going through whatever they're going through. So Eat Today for me is, how can we reframe the conversation to say, there are ways that we can celebrate this holiday in particular, but other holidays that don't make people feel like they're on a separate path, that we can enjoy the same kinds of treats together. And really what it means is pushing our health forward collectively. Even if you're not on the cancering journey, we all could do a better job with our nutrition. So that said, I am going to first show you what I'm going to be drinking tonight. So I have 4 things I want to show you. Hi, Joanne from Canada. It's nice to meet you. I'm going to grab something from the freezer. You're going to hold tight. So back before illness came into our family, of course, we were notorious, being Italian, for a big bottle of red wine, right? Big bottle of red wine, we shared it. And again, I'm not telling you what to eat and what not to eat. I'm just cleaning up a few things. And you can decide whether or not you want to select items that are a little bit healthier, a little less sugar filled, a little less salt filled, a little less fat filled, right? So what I did was, this is my new favorite. We are not consuming alcohol in our family, but I really do enjoy a pretty drink. I will share that with you. Again, I'm not endorsing any product. I'm just sharing what we're doing around here. I don't know if anybody has seen this product. I'll hold it up. It's called Hi-Yo. I know I shared this with Danielle when we were at a tailgating event recently. It's called Hi-Yo, and it is considered a non-alcoholic social tonic. Why do you care? You shouldn't, because there's lots of other choices that you can come up with. But you're going to see the color of this in just a moment. And it's beautiful red, beautiful pink, kind of mimicking that wine color. What I did with this is I found a silicone ice cube tray and I poured my tonic in here. What I got out of it were these beautiful heart ice cubes. So this is what we'll be drinking tonight in my gorgeous sunflower wine stem glasses. I am going to pour in my ice cubes, and our cocktail will look like that. Now, I do want to say these are delicious, less than 30 calories. And I don't know if you can see, I'm going to put this whole thing together for you at the end, but you'd be hard pressed to argue that it's just not as enjoyable, really, truly. So I've got my something to drink. So the drinking and the desserts is where I feel like Valentine's Day kind of gets derailed, right? So I'm going to teach you now. Raise your hand, your virtual hand, or come off mute or put it in the chat. How many of you love Reese's peanut butter cups, or anything chocolate for that matter? Let me see that, right? Anybody else? Cheryl, Joe, David, Susan, anybody missing their chocolate? Yes, Kristen loves her chocolate. How about the rest of you? You like chocolate? This is what we're going to be making today. This is a mock Reese's peanut butter cup, but I'm getting rid of the peanut butter. If you've watched any of our playbacks, peanut butter in its integrity, peanuts aren't necessarily the greatest choice for a nut. I'm not going to derail the conversation that's in the replay, but a peanut, we can make better choices with our nut butters. So I'm going to be using today, I'm going to be using an almond butter. Kristen, I see the thing going off there. Do I have a question?
You're good.
Okay. All right. So this is what I do. To make that treat is literally 4 ingredients to get it going. I'm going to use an almond butter, and what you should see on the back label of whatever nut butter you choose is the nut, nothing else. Truly, we don't need a long list of ingredients. This recipe calls for a ½ cup of natural peanut butter. I'm using the almond butter. So let me go there. I just want to show you how easy it is to make. And while I'm doing this, Kristen, you need to keep me on time track because like I said, this is where I geek out. I could stay here forever telling you all the things that I use to substitute. So if you would give me no longer than 12:15 Eastern time to finish up my eat conversation, that would be great. Keeping me on track. So I've got a half of cup of unsalted almond butter. No big deal, right? Then I am going to take organic maple syrup. So if you're sitting there saying, Stacy, I thought you said we weren't going to be doing sugar. Sugar is sugar is sugar. Any of our nutrition oncologists will tell us that, but we are adding a little bit of sweetener to this. I'm going to do, to the recipe, it said 2 tablespoons. I'm just doing the 1, okay? Last 2 ingredients. Almond flour. Anybody use almond flour and enjoy it as a substitution for regular flour? We're going to use this, and I am going to add a 1/3 of a cup of almond flour. That's it. And you ready for that 4th ingredient? Crazy as it sounds. Here's my Celtic sea salt. Looks a little gray, right? That's because it hasn't been stripped and it hasn't been whitened. It's a healthier sea salt. I'm taking just a pinch. So here's what it looks like, you guys. No big deal. All I'm going to do is stir this up. And you're going to get this really nice sticky paste. A healthier nut butter. We're using the almond butter, a little bit of Himalayan or Celtic sea salt, and then that 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. Once you get that into a thick paste, which looks like this, and I can do a better job in mixing it just for time purposes. It just looks like a paste. All right, big finale, y'all. I've got my cupcake dish. I'm going to use a liner. I'm going to take 1 little teaspoon. Oh, and I forgot to say, everything I teach you today will be in the show notes. These will not disappoint if you love that Reese's peanut butter cup. So I put that ball in the bottom here, and I just found this little tool. Do you need this tool? No, you don't need this tool. You just need something to flatten it out, like a little herb pest, you know, a little tool that just to flatten it out. Once you flatten out that dough, you stick that in the refrigerator for 15 minutes. The big finale to this is 2 more ingredients. I've got super, super dark chocolate chunks with low to no sugar. And I've got coconut oil. This kind of coconut oil is solid at room temperature. And all you're going to do is put a small teaspoon of that oil inside with your chocolate. And you can do one of 2 things. We're not huge fans of microwaves, but the majority of us have them. If you're time crunch, of course, you can soften this and just kind of mix it all together. The coconut oil makes it a little bit more spreadable, right? Or you can double boil it where you just sit it in a pan of boiling water until it melts down. The big finale is you pour the chocolate on top of the dough and you stick that whole tray in the freezer and look what you get out of it. Now, if I had thought this through, I would have used yellow cupcake papers and they would look like little sunflowers, but aren't they gorgeous? Look. And one of those is a nice little treat. And like I said, we're celebrating together. We are doing things that are just a little bit healthier and moving away from sugar-laden processed. This is like a homemade 10-minute treat that you can enjoy. And what's great about it is that this recipe made a total of 12 Reese's almond cups. And you could add other things to it and just stick them in the freezer. And maybe if you just want to have a treat occasionally, you feel a little bit better about the ingredients in this one. So we've got our mocktail with the ice cubes, and we've got our Reese's almond cups. What are we going to do with that horribly unhealthy Valentine's Day candy that I'm sure all of us have a little bit, especially if you have children in your house? I'm going to pause for a second and I'm going to ask, what do you think the 2 most unhealthy Valentine's Day candies that are the highest seller are? Just take a guess. Play along with me. Hi, Jen. Welcome. What are they saying, Kristen? What do they think is the least healthy Valentine's Day treat? Reese's? That's not the worst. Conversation hearts. Danielle gets it a ding ding. So I still think you should buy them. Why? Because they make people happy, right? So this is what I did with my conversation hearts. You ready? And then I'm going to show you how to do it. Can you see how beautiful? I made a floral arrangement and I took every single one of those conversation hearts and I stuck them in a large bowl. And then I put my hydrangeas in a smaller container. I'm going to teach you how to do this because it's really fun. It gets the conversation literally started and you don't have to feel like you can't look at those conversation hearts. They're not my favorite. I don't know who likes them, but for whatever reason, they're a really big seller. Second one, who? Thank you. I think it's cute too. Did anybody guess the second one? Do we have any peeps? Not peeps. I think those are more for like Easter time, right? Anybody know what these are? Okay, so not only do we have the red dye number 9, but we also have like a really hard candy, terrible for the teeth, all sugar. So what am I going to do with it? I'm going to teach you how I just made that. So again, these are just Red Hots. You can buy them anywhere. Does anybody like Red Hots? Ladies, Kristen, Danielle, do you like Red Hots?
Me.
I used to like them as a
My
kid.
husband does. So.
They're just weird. I don't know. It's like maybe if you like want fresh cinnamony breath, but I don't even think they taste that good. But anyway, I just poured a bunch of them in this container. And then what I did was, and again, I know you all are calling in from all over. We have Trader Joe's here in Maryland, and I will do a plug on this one. I'm going to endorse them. Trader Joe's might have the best flowers there ever was. I mean, if you have one by your home, please, and you love flowers, they just have excellent flowers with excellent prices. So I bought a whole bunch of these beautiful tulips. They've got the beautiful pink and red in there. And then I got a smaller glass container. That's the trick. You don't want the flowers sitting anywhere near the candy because it just makes a huge mess. I cut the bottoms off and then you just stick the smaller container inside and you just move it down and around so it kind of covers it and it looks like they're sitting together. So we'll put that on our table at the end. Isn't that cool? All right, so if you can't tell by now, I'm setting the stage for a drinking, dessert eating, beautiful table. What might else we need? The last thing on our eat section is going to be, gotta have a napkin. Don't you have to have a napkin? Look at these. How cute are they? All I did was buy some red napkins and let me show you how easy. So here's my red napkin. I'm going to turn this down. You're not going to be able to see my face, but you're going to be able to see my working space, which is a mess. You're going to lay your napkin flat and you're going to take your fork. In the center of your napkin, you're going to stick this fork all the way up the napkin and you're just going to start twisting. You just twist and there's no rhyme or reason. Like you just twist until you can't twist anymore. So it doesn't really look that great, right? I'm going to pull the fork out. You flip it over. You puff up the rosebud just a little bit and you get your container. How cute is that? Awesome, right? And I think, Kristen, I think I'm right at time to move on to move. Am I right?
You are, yes.
All right, so let me pause for a second. And I want to make sure we have no questions. I'm going to try my mocktail while you ask me questions. Any questions about napkin folding, using the unhealthy candy, the Reese's almond cup, or our mocktail? Questions? I see a bunch of people in there, Kristen, nothing?
No questions, we are good.
Okay, all right, so we're going to transition. All I'm going to do is you're going to give me 10 seconds to turn this around. We're moving on to move. And if you want to participate, in fact, I would highly encourage and would really welcome you to join me. The move section is not going to make you sweat. It's not going to make you sore. what it's going to do is make you feel great. So if you are wanting to join me, all I ask you to do is find a comfortable seat. You don't have to be wearing sneakers, nothing like that. And I will meet you there in 10 seconds. I am back. All right. Ladies, see everything okay? Okay. So as I mentioned, you let me know if you can't see anything and I will adjust accordingly. So as I shared, I do a lot of corrective exercise and I also do just regular stretching and just opening exercises for folks that are post-surgery, for folks that are seated at their desk all day long and are feeling tight and uncomfortable. So I thought it would be cool if I led you through a series of what I'll call heart opening exercises. So what you need to do is you need to find a comfortable seat and you need to have your feet flat on the floor. So your feet are flat on the floor and your palms are on your thighs. And all I want you to do is just get what I call grounded. And what I mean by grounded is you really want to feel the floor underneath of your feet. You want to be sitting up with a tall posture. If you are somebody who has just recently gone through a surgery and you just want to watch and follow along, make sure that you're cleared. It's not, like I said, nothing vigorous, but I want to make sure you're safe. And all we're going to do is we're going to tuck the chin down. I just want you to feel the length in the back of your neck. So why am I showing you this on Valentine's Day? Well, I think a flow or a series of stretches like this is a great way to open and end any day. But in particular, keeping chest expansion wide open is very, very important. Why? Because we don't want tight spaces anywhere. When the body starts to close, it starts to feel uncomfortable. So what I'm doing is working from the crown of your head all the way to the tip of your tailbone, doing what's called flexing and extending your spine. So we're starting with the neck. So the chin has been tucked down. I want you just to take a breath here. And then I want you to release the breath. And I want you to look up to where your wall and your ceiling meet. So only that far. So I'm going to turn to the side. I don't want you here. I don't want you there. I want you looking right where the wall and the ceiling meet. Okay. So let's try it again. We'll drop the chin down. You should feel some nice long stretching in the back of the neck. And then I want you to go ahead and look up. You'll feel like a nice little bend, a little gentle stretch in the back of the neck. Good. We'll do it one more time. Drop the chin. And then go ahead and look up to where the wall and the ceiling meet. Beautiful. Our next step is to add in our shoulders. So what I'm going to ask you to do now is I'm going to ask you to round your shoulders. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. I'm going to ask you to round your shoulders and then go ahead and look down at your belly button. So you should feel this stretch in the upper part of the back. You should feel like a collapsing in of the chest. And then when you're ready, push down on the top of your thighs and go ahead and arch your back. Take your eye gaze back up to where wall and ceiling meet. If you have a regular stretch practice, you might recognize this. The stretch practice would be going from cat to cow pose. So we're rounding, looking at belly. And then we're extending, looking up. I cannot tell you the tremendous benefits of these two movements of flexing and extending your spine. Why? Because it moves what's called the synovial fluid through the spinal column. It just opens up the body just a little bit more. Let's do it one more time. So take a deep breath in, look up. And then as you exhale, go ahead and round your back and look at your belly. Beautiful. So we've done neck and shoulders and back, and we're going to go just a little bit deeper. So show me your palms and then go ahead and interlace your fingers. Okay. Same idea, but we're just going to add a little arm movement to it. So as you drop your hands, push them towards me, tuck your chin. And then when you're ready, release your hands, send your arms up and lift your chest. And follow the heart, right? And then drop right back down, interlace your hands, push your hands away, round your back, eye gaze goes to your belly button. And then release, go ahead, look up. Awesome. I like to think of this one as, what would you like to push away? Push it away right now. And then what would you like to receive? Look up. Good. Let's do it one more time. Drop in, push whatever you want, push it away. And then what do you want to invite in? Look up. Awesome. I have one more for you and we'll move on to our breathe section. Now, I'm going to scoot this chair back just a little bit. The tops of my hands are on the tops of my thighs. If I need to adjust to show you, I will happily do this. It's funny. This little motion is called cowgirl. I don't know why, but it is, okay? It's a little challenging to teach virtually, but I know you're going to get it. I am going to be the opposite of what I'm telling you to do, the direction. So we'll find our way to, I wish I could see you doing it, but the bottom line is there's no incorrect way. It's not what it looks like, it's what it feels like. And I'm hoping that this shape will give you a lot of relief in chest and low back, which is so awesome, right? I'm going to take my left shoulder, which is going to look like my right, and I'm going to drop it towards my right knee. Okay, just try that with me one more time. My left shoulder is dropped towards my right knee. Then I use both hands and I push down and I make this big circle to where my right shoulder is now facing my left knee. And then I finish the circle. So it looks like this. Yes. It feels, if you are somebody who sits at a desk all day long, like my ladies and I do, Danielle, Kristen, and I are guilty of sitting at our desks sometimes for too long. This is a great movement to release low back tension and just kind of get in there with all parts of spine moving, twisting. Good. Come back to center. Now, that's kind of like patting your head and rubbing your belly at the same time. Can you go the opposite direction? Let's try it. So what did I do first? I went right shoulder left. Can you reverse the direction to make the opposite circle? And if you don't get it the first time, and even if you go in the same direction, who cares? That looks great. Let's do one more. Good. And then finish up. Well done. So as we transition to our breathe section, take both of your hands and put them on your low back. I just want you to take a moment and I want you to close your eyes just for a second. I'm going to have you close your eyes a lot in a moment, but I want you to take your arms behind you. Why? Because it opens up this chest area a little bit more, this thoracic area. My hands are behind my back and I'm letting my elbows drift backwards. And I just want you to take a couple breaths here. Imagine your heart's leading the way. And now that you've done all of that great movement just to open the body up, just enjoy what that feels like, especially if you've been sitting for a long period of time. Just that little bit of movement changes energy. And as I mentioned, it doesn't matter what your shapes look like. It matters what it feels like. And if this feels good, stay here for another breath. Well done. All right, let's come out of it slowly. Shake out those hands. How are we doing on time? Kristen, are we ready to move on to breathe? And do we have any questions?
No questions. It is 12:26.
Beautiful. All right, so breathe section, you get 2 treats from me. The first treat is, how do I say, just super important, that I would love for you to say that this is the one thing that you took away from today's food for thought session, because I believe in it wholeheartedly, no pun intended. The breath is probably the most dismissed tool that we can access at any given time. And so I feel like as we talk about heart opening and giving and receiving love, whether it's for ourselves or for others or somebody who's on this path that really might need a little bit of extra love, the best thing, or one of the best things that you can do, is truly breathe with them. So this breath technique, if you watched back, I did a whole session on breathing. This one was called the water breath technique. Why is it called water? It's really not, but it's a great way to remember it. When do we drink water? When is water good for us? It's good for us anytime. This is the breath technique that you can use anytime. And the idea is, not only are we offering expansion for our breath, we are matching inhales and exhales. And why do we want to do that? Our nervous system very much wants to be balanced. Our inhales are responsible for bringing energy to us, and our exhales are responsible for helping us to relax. For those who geek out like I do, the nervous system is divided technically into two places, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. One is responsible for gearing us up, and the other part, the parasympathetic, is to bring us down. The water breath technique is kind of like that thing. If you need to come up, it's good for that. If you need to come down, it's good for that as well. But first, we need to know how to take a very good breath. So if you are seated, your feet are flat on the floor, and I'd invite you to bring your hands to your ribs. And all we're doing with this, the only reason why I have you do this is because on your inhale, I'd like you to initiate the breath from the bottom up. Sounds a little bit weird because we, as a society, tend to be shallow breathers, and we start typically up here. So if you've not done a breath technique, it feels a little unusual. You're going to inhale, the belly expands, so the hands will push out a little bit. And then we move the inhale up the body. So it goes inhale, belly, ribs, chest expand. And as you exhale, you feel this deflation in the reverse order. So let me say it again. As you breathe in, the belly, the ribs, and then the chest expands. And then as you exhale, the chest, the ribs, the belly deflate. Think of it like this internal balloon that you are blowing up on your inhale. And as you exhale, you're deflating it. So let's just try one before I get into the technique. So we inhale, belly comes out, ribs come out, chest comes out, and then chest, ribs, belly on the exhale. Try it again. Breathe in. And then big, full breath out. One more time, please. Take a breath in. And then a big breath out. If it feels a little tricky to you, don't worry. I know you can do it. You want to know how I know you can do it? Because you were born breathing that way. We just have adjusted and started breathing up here. So the water technique goes like this. I'm going to inhale to a count of 4. And then I'm going to exhale to a count of 4. We're going to do 5 rounds together, and we're going to see what we feel like after that. You ready? You don't have to put your hands here. Just place them on your thighs. And again, it's what it feels like. You don't have to be perfect. Take a breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do one more. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blink open your eyes. And if you feel comfortable, please put in the chat. How do you feel? Maybe you needed a little bit more energy. Hopefully the breath technique did that for you. Maybe you needed to wind down. Maybe it did that for you. Anybody feel a little different? Kristen, we have any comments, or everybody's just enjoying?
I think everyone's really relaxed.
Good, good. So water technique, once again, this is being recorded so you can watch it back. If you're interested in the other breath techniques, they are in the replay. There's a whole food for thought session on just breathing. We're going to finish off the breathe section with a really special meditation. I taught you the breath technique intentionally first, because in my world, the word meditation is all the rage. Everybody's buzzing about it. But we forget that the precursor to having a really special, effective meditation moment is the breath. They come alongside of one another. So if we don't know how to take an intentional breath, meditation becomes, I find that folks explain it as a little bit agitating or aggravating or feeling a little friction. So if that's you and you're curious, about meditation, a great place to start is with an easy breath technique. So I want you to sit back in your chair. This is about 1 minute long. It goes along with my theme today, our theme today of eat, move, breathe, love. And it's a heart opening meditation. I'd also invite you to slow your breathing down. You don't have to do what I just taught you. If you feel comfortable doing that, go ahead. But most importantly, I want you to be comfortable. So I'm giving you permission to have poor posture. If you want to lean back, if you want to tuck your head back, that's fine. And you're going to allow me to guide you through this heart opening meditation. Feet are flat, body is relaxed, eyes are closed. For just this moment, I want you to let go of your thoughts and the outside world. And yes, I'm speaking to all of you on the call. Just for this moment, let it go. I want you to focus your attention on your heart center. It's in the middle of your chest. And I want you to bring your awareness to the heart as just a space. It's just a space. The heart center is a point of awareness where feelings enter. In its most basic form, the heart is pure emptiness. Let me repeat that. In its purest form, it is pure emptiness. It's pervaded by peace and by subtle light. I don't want you to strain, but your light, if you are visualizing, the light might appear as white or gold or pale pink, or maybe even blue. But I don't want you to muscle up to try to find a color. Just allow it to happen. All you need to do is feel whatever you're feeling. Take a breath and rest your attention easily on your heart center. I want you breathing gently, and I want you to sense your breath flowing in and out of your heart space. Just imagine that. Eyes are closed, breath is easy. We're just imagining the breath entering and exiting the heart space. I want you to continue to let your breath go in and out. And as you do that, I want you to ask your heart what it needs to say to you. What is your heart speaking to you right at this moment? Can't demand it. You just have a little teeny faint intention. You want your heart to express what it wants to feel. For the next 5 breaths, I just want you to, eyes closed, I just want you to listen. How often do we get the moment just to sit still and listen? For many of us, your heart will begin to release emotions, maybe some memories, maybe wishes, but maybe it's releasing fear. As it starts to do that, notice how you start to pay attention. What is your heart speaking to you? You might have a flash of a strong emotion, and that is okay. That's the cool part about meditation. Whatever comes up, it just comes up. It is what it is. They might be positive emotions, it might be negative emotions, or maybe your heart's remembering a forgotten something. Notice if your breathing is changing. Has it sped up? Has it slowed down? Let this experience be just what it is. Just let it be. If you find that your mind starts to wander, it happens to all of us. Don't worry about it. Just bring it back to your heart center. Maybe you're thinking about a to-do list or something out there, but just bring it back to this moment. Bring it back to your heart center. Your heart's message is perfect. Truly, it's perfect. Whether it speaks to you right now in sadness or fear or delight or pleasure, that message is exactly what you need to hear at this exact moment. If voices of anger or worry or doubt start to come up, allow them to speak to you and then just let them go. You are learning this first step in being with your heart. That's what meditation is. My hope for you is that you are listening to your heart without judgment. That is intention and attention. When you are ready, I want you to take a big breath in through your nose, an easy breath out through your nose or through your mouth, whatever's comfortable. And then I want you to blink open your eyes. Bring the room back into focus. I always hesitate about asking you any questions because if you had a particularly calming or easy meditation, that abrupt nature of asking is not very nice, but we are on Zoom and I'd love for you to, as we transition into the love section of our seminar today, if anybody had a great experience for these few minutes of meditation that you wanted to share. How do you feel, Danielle?
She gave a
Feeling
big
good?
thumbs up.
Big thumbs up. How are you feeling, Kristen?
Relax. I felt some tension release actually from my spine when we were doing the stretching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting all the different ways that this was an internal opening. The meditation allowed us to open heart space that we can't necessarily see. And then the stretches were our spine moves in 6 different directions. And sometimes I think we don't give the spine the grace that it needs to open up before we start moving in jarring ways. So the things that I'm teaching you today, it's not just for Valentine's Day, especially if you have what I would call a healing back. Those 6 movements of the spine that I did for you is something that you can enjoy in the morning and in the evening, and it just makes a huge difference, which is fabulous, fabulous. Anybody have any questions for me, Kristen, before I close us out with our little love surprise?
David said very nice and relaxing, and Joe said wonderful and thank you.
Oh, nice. I'm going to address David first. I know you shared something personal at the front of the webinar and the seminar here. And let me just say this. I feel like you are in a really safe space to share with you that things like what we're doing right now, this is the practical nature of how we do healing moments during the course of our day. And even though they are small, habitual movements that you can enjoy at any time, I feel like having a toolkit of ways to make you feel better is probably a great place for us all to start, whether it be with food. That's what I love about the paradigm of eat, move, breathe, and love. Pick a lane and just go after the feeling that you're trying to receive. That meditation was meant to provide you some peace. And if you got that, I would encourage you to do it again, right? So go after the feeling. And like I said, you don't have to be perfect at this. These are just small little ways that we can make ourselves feel better. I'm going to close this out with what I find if I forget during the course of the year, I come back to at least on Valentine's Day. I try to do it the holiday times like Christmas. It just reminds me that when I am serving and loving other people, all of a sudden I feel better. So this is a bit of a tradition that has been going on inside my business, but then also inside my home. I'll share with you how it started, and then I'll share where we're going to go. And you are welcome to borrow it, take it. You will have the template in the show notes. But as a little girl, my brother could not say my name, Stacy. He called me Daisy, and that kind of took off this nicknamed Daisy. So much so that I'm not a grandmother yet, but one day when I am, my children have said that grandma's name will be Daisy. So it started with paying it forward with daisies. And so they looked like this. Okay. So again, you don't have to zoom in or anything. It's just like a construction paper card cutout, right? And what we would do is surprise each other using the landing of the daisy. Since I have been with Believe Big and really developed a unbelievable relationship with the sunflower, which I'll hold for another time, my Pay It Forward has now become the Golden Sunflower Project, where here's the template. And on the back is the directions, and I'm going to read it to you. There's just brief. It says, Golden Sunflower Project is helping people glow together by spreading kindness. You've received a golden sunflower. The golden sunflower represents intentional acts of kindness aiming to spread joy and connection throughout the world. You are chosen to receive this intentional act of kindness by someone who wants the best for you. All the golden sunflower asks in return is that you pay it forward to somebody else with a smile, a compliment, another golden sunflower, or maybe even buying them a cup of coffee for somebody you'd like to connect with, because together we glow. Now, I'd like to tell you that this was an original idea, but it's not. If you are familiar with the secret blue butterfly movement, it's along the same ideas. The idea is that they're random acts of kindness. I promise you, I know it sounds sort of silly, but it is not beneath me whatsoever to pull out this in the Starbucks line, hand it to the person who's waiting on me, and tell them to give this to the person behind me and pay for their order. It is things like that, you guys, that I think collective love and sharing space and surprising people is exactly what we all need, right? And you will be surprised if you take me up on this, wherever you are on this journey, how much better you will feel in that particular moment. And I just think it lights up somebody's day when you feel like you've surprised somebody. So that's my love hack that you are welcome to take advantage of. I'm going to stop because I've done a lot of talking, and I'm going to make sure that you don't have any questions for me before we sign off on Valentine's Day. Got anything, Kristen?
Looks like no questions, just a few thank yous.
I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, it's a little different than what we normally do for Food for Thought. Typically, we will have interviewed sessions, and you can anticipate the next one will be with Jen Nolan. She works at Remission Nutrition, and we're going to be talking about nourishing the soul for the next Food for Thought. We have the whole year scripted out, and you're going to be learning things like soups and comfort foods and mushrooms and how to eat before and after a traditional treatment and whatnot. So again, if this is your first time joining us, this is an unusual one, meaning we are doing some real-time hacks and not specifically honing in on the cancer conversation. This was just fun ways to work around a holiday that's wrapped in sugar and alcohol and all that stuff. So I hope that what I gave you today was just a way for you to reframe and never mind that cancer thing, right? Because if you're with a family or friends or whatever, we all could clean it up just a little bit. And that was this for today. So I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Danielle for setting us up. And I want to say thank you to Kristen for being my sidekick and moderating. And if there are no questions, we get to end a couple of minutes early. And I look forward. I promised you some contact information. My email address is stacy@believebig.org. If you have any questions about today or other episodes, you can feel free to reach out. In addition to that, if you are somebody who is looking to customize and really target your nutrition on your journey, I can help you with that as well. I will connect you with one of our oncology nutritionists. We have a handful now, and we can talk about the different layers of services that you can receive. My suggestion, start with us first. Go back to the resources page. It costs you nothing, and you will be able to get a nice base a foundation in which you can make some really big decisions. I don't know about you, but this process, in terms of where I was with this, with my family, it seemed like it was going to be a very, very expensive route. And so for me, that's pretty important to me to provide you with some resources that you don't feel like you have to fund. And I look forward to hearing your feedback.